Michael Brown's death, though a tragedy, did not involve prosecutable conduct on the part of Officer Wilson. Yet it remains not only valid, but essential to question how such a strong alternative version of events was able to take hold so swiftly and to be accepted so readily.
Welcome back to America's Forum. That is outgoing Attorney General Eric Holder clearing Officer Darren Wilson of any wrongdoing in the death of Michael Brown. He also admitted, by the way, the slogan, "Hands up, don't shoot," was a false narrative. But this will not be the last we hear about this incident. Michael Brown's family announced yesterday they plan to file a civil lawsuit against Officer Wilson. With Miranda Kyan alongside, let's welcome in some additional guests. First, via Skype, the president of the Law Enforcement Legal Defense Fund, Ron Hosko, who also is a former FBI assistant director. And here on our anchor desk, so pleased to welcome in my old friend Niger Innes, executive director of the TeaParty.net. And Niger, first to you. I can scarcely believe my ears. General Holder wondering how a false narrative could get established when he was pushing it.
Not only he was pushing it, of course, he compared the Michael Brown death to Emmett Till, which is a young boy who got killed, 15-year-old, in Mississippi back in 1956 for whistling at a white girl. I mean, it's just a totally different case. President Obama went before the United Nations and compared Ferguson to ISIS and to Russia invading Ukraine. So when you have that narrative that they helped create, you kind of can't blame the Brown family. My goodness, losing a child is a horrific, whatever the circumstances, to lose a child is a horrific thing. So when you've got the President of the United States telling the world, and you've got the Attorney General comparing it to a classic civil rights horrific incident, then why would they not want to pursue this and want more than what they've received so far?
Ron, what do you think of Eric Holder's comments?
I think that the first 3 minutes of his press conference essentially dismissed the Darren Wilson situation, and then he spent the next 20 minutes talking about policing in Ferguson. I thought it was disingenuous. I think that this has been a false narrative for 7 months, and I also think the Attorney General of the United States failed in his responsibility to step up when he knew these allegations to be untrue against Officer Wilson 4 months ago. He should have stepped up then and said the hands up, don't shoot narrative is a lie.
Did he wait too long?
He waited.
Absolutely.
Well, not only did he wait too long, he actually helped create the narrative. I mean, before his own investigation was complete, he was already comparing this incident to civil rights injustices that have happened to blacks historically down in the South. These guys, what they did has been outrageous. It's been a betrayal, frankly, of the presidency. It's been a betrayal of the Attorney General's office. And even more than that, I mean, obviously I'm the executive director of the TeaParty.net. I'm also the national spokesman for the Congress of Racial Equality, which is one of our oldest civil rights organizations. It's a betrayal of the civil rights legacy of black Americans as well.
But let me ask you this, and I'll start with you.
Yeah.
The majority of this community, obviously, was minority.
Yeah.
But the police department was not. And
Right.
they did find in this investigation that several of these officers did things that were
Yes.
racially motivated.
Yes.
They knew about it. They made racial comments in emails. It wasn't discouraged, nor were people disciplined until now.
Right. Well, the foundation and the problem in Ferguson, and by the way, you should know that Dr. Alveda King, who you both know, and I went to Ferguson to investigate this, and actually we came to a conclusion without spending millions of dollars of taxpayers' money, without sending 36 federal agents and launching an investigation, we came to a conclusion months ago that the Justice Department just came to yesterday, which is that the fundamental problem in Ferguson, it's not just in Ferguson, it's all over the country, is that when law enforcement officials that should be concerned with crime, serious crime, rape, murder, protecting property, they turned these guys into tax collectors. So in a sense, they made two sets of victims. They made, of course, the community, which is 67% black, victims of nuisance fines. Like if you don't have your sticker on the license plate in the right place, you can get a fine. If you don't pay that fine, you get another fine. If you don't pay that fine, you get a warrant out for your arrest. And before you know it, a little Mickey Mouse infraction puts you in the criminal justice system. So when you create this tension and you make police tax collectors, you create this artificial tension that leads to what happens.
Ron, go ahead. No, I was just going to get Ron's take on that based on what you just said. Do you agree with that?
I agree with Niger, Miranda. There's two separate things going on here. There were two separate reports, and I would encourage all of your viewers to read them both. On one hand, the report with respect to Darren Wilson and Michael Brown completely acquits Darren Wilson of the wrongdoing. There wasn't a shred of credible evidence that suggests he did wrong. And in fact, the Attorney General should have said he was justified in what he did, and other similarly situated law enforcement officers would be justified in doing the exact same thing. And then there's the report on patterns and practices with respect to the Ferguson, the police department and the court system there. And that report is, as Niger alluded, is very troubling. It made police officers, rather than engaging with the community in a positive way, made them tax assessors and collectors.
Well, but here's a larger problem, Niger, that I see. The notion now of social justice really becoming racial justice, becoming racial quotas in terms of crime and punishment. Is there a danger of that even as Eric Holder leaves and perhaps Loretta Lynch takes over the Justice Department?
Call me optimistically naive or naively optimistic, but I somehow think that Loretta Lynch is going to be a different kind of Attorney General than Eric Holder. I think the overzealous partisanship on the part of Holder, not just political partisanship, but racial partisanship, was dangerous to our country. Well, I hope she doesn't follow suit.
About 45 seconds, Ron Hosko, your take on what's going to happen in the Attorney General's job.
JD, I am hopeful. I'm cautiously optimistic, too. But I'm concerned because when good prosecutors go to work on Pennsylvania Avenue, they are touched by the corrosive influence of politics on Pennsylvania Avenue at either end of the street. And that is, very, very concerning. Once upon a time, Eric Holder was a good, aggressive prosecutor. He was the U.S. Attorney in D.C. during very difficult days. This is a different Eric Holder.
And there soon will be a different Attorney General if the confirmation comes through of Loretta Lynch, which we expect to have happen since she cleared the Judiciary Committee. Ron Hosko, sir, we thank you for Skyping in from a snowy Washington, D.C. Niger Innes, it's so good to have you here on the anchor desk. We're going to have you hang around to spend more time with us here. And we're going to step aside so Miranda can offer this Newsmax Now update. Stay with us.